Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Matea Rentia, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Okay, welcome, my friends. We are starting something new on the podcast, and I'm so super pumped about this. We are keeping the normal Monday episode as you have known for years. That's not going anywhere. But what I'm going to trial out here, because I just really thought of this and wanted to do it, I want to add a little segment on Fridays. It's really going to be random, okay? It's going to be either a recipe I'm loving or something that's making life easier or a quote that I heard where I thought, gosh, is that amazing? There's just so many things during the week, or maybe I set a goal for the weekend, or I'm thinking something might be helpful to you. There's stuff that I'm hearing all day long, and sometimes it just doesn't fit well into the weekly episodes, and sometimes we record them so far ahead, I don't really in real time get to stay connected with all of you. So this little Friday segment that we're going to do, it's not going to be as long as the regular podcast. Well, I say that now, but who knows? Maybe Maybe if it's less structured, I can just do what I want. What you're going to notice is there will not be blog posts on the website for this. So this is just going to go on the podcast. So if I'm ever referencing something and I say, oh, we'll link it in the show notes, most of the time it's like you can go on the website, rentiaclinic.com/blog, and you can see what the podcast posts are. This will not be going under that. So only the Monday episodes will be going there where we have the longer blog posts on everything that's talked about and we have links to things, but I will still link to it underneath where you're listening right now. So for example, every single podcast episode that you're listening to, when we say show notes, it's either underneath or if you swipe right or left, you'll see that there's like a little section, a little description. I'm not even going to write anything in there for these episodes. It'll just be if there's something that I talk about, I'll hyperlink it there. So today what I wanted to talk about, I just attended a virtual conference this past Monday, Tuesday. I'm recording this on a Friday, and a lot was talked about on that conference, but one statistic was brought up that just blew my mind. And I forget if it was Harvard or Stanford, but some hoity-toity university, they did a study and they saw that people's creativity increases by 60%, 60% when they are walking, and it is maintained after they sit down and they're done with their walk. And this is so on brand with what I'm always telling you guys, where I'm saying we need to exercise, whether it be walk, a swim, whatever it is. This is not just unique to walking, right? And the reality is, I say it manages your stress, it helps with keeping your cortisol levels down, all of that kind of stuff. And yes, maybe down the road, it helps with your metabolic health, but at the end of the day, it is needed for so much more than that. And here's the link that I thought about when I was hearing this. I thought, isn't it possible that if your creativity is up, you can actually problem solve? Is anybody with me on that? Have any of you had this time where you are sitting there and you're thinking, oh my gosh, the scale's not moving. Am I always every day gonna have to work this hard? And you've just got yourself in knots, right? You're in a straitjacket. And then you go on a long walk, or you just kind of take some time off in some capacity, right? And suddenly as I'm walking, I notice I have, I could try this. I could try that. Especially for me with business and the podcast and everything like that. I'm like, I want to share this with them. All these things come flooding to me that are not occurring when I'm sitting on the couch or when I'm trying to quote unquote sit at my desk and do work. I want to bring this up that if you are struggling with, you find that the same things keep happening and you're like, you can never really find answers for it, things like that. I want you to go on what I'm going to call the poet's walk. Okay. I just want you to meander around. This is not about efficiency. It's not about speed. It's not about all those things, but I want you to go and I want you to see, does it clear the cobwebs? Do you suddenly have access to that part of your brain where you can reason critically? Oh, let me try this. Let me try that. And when I heard that 60% increase, I thought, gosh, that's much better than I would have ever predicted. I always thought, it kind of a little bit helps recenter you. It a little bit helps ground you. Remember, we've also talked about with walking that when your eyes are going back and forth, this really scrambles the emotion centers of the brain. It's sort of like mini, I mean, I don't want to compare it to EMDR, but if you've heard of that type of therapy where, and again, the therapist is leading this, but it's very helpful for things like PTSD and some really complex traumas. And when you're walking, because your eyes are going back and forth, you are getting a reset that's just not possible in any other way. So here I'm talking about walking. I really think that the same things apply, like this, the same eye tracking and things that are happening in your body, I would assume would correlate to swimming or other activities. Or I find this with just a few minutes of strength training. Like I don't do, big sessions, but if I've gotten really into this recently, I will just take like between patients, if I have a minute or two, I'll just take my 10-pound weights and do some weighted squats or overhead presses, things like that. And I just find that there's this not burst of energy. That's just really the wrong term, but there's this clarity and centeredness where I can think about, oh, this person in front of me, here's exactly what they need. So for you to be able to solve your own problems and challenges, I want you to keep this number in mind, that I'm going to be 60% more creative. I'm going to actually be able to see this from different angles, get some new ideas. I'm going to turn my prefrontal cortex on. That's that 10%, that part of the brain. That's the thing that makes you human, by the way. That's what differentiates us from animals. We're going to turn that part of the brain on more, and you're going to be able to make some really great decisions. And it's kind of interesting. I've said this before on the podcast. When I wake up in the morning, I'm just, I'm all negative. And then I do that hour walk in the morning. That's my pattern personally. Now, again, if you're new to the podcast, please go back and listen to other episodes. I started out with having flip-flops on and doing a few seconds, right? I mean, this has been like a 6-year journey at this point. But when I do that hour walk, suddenly by minute 45, it's just, there's a new Matea. Suddenly I'm able to think differently. I have different thoughts. I have different, yes, I can do this. And I'm just completely reset. So I just wanted to bring you this little study. And I just think it's an incredibly nice way sometimes when you're able to build a body of evidence that supports why it might be so important to do things. All right. I hope that you have a great weekend. You can do this, set a goal or two. Again, you can still have freedom and flexibility, but what's your baseline minimum? Do you want to get some water in? Do you want to do a walk every day? Just pick 1 or 2 things that can keep you grounded. And then, of course, the rest is negotiable. All right, have an amazing weekend. That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about, because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to rentiaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend, listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be rentiaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.